Good morning, everybody. Mark Finan here in the home weather office on this Thursday morning. It's now, the 22nd day of May, 2025, and this is the morning briefing coming to you from the home weather office. Looking out the window, nothing but blue sky, a little bit of a breeze. Should be a nice day. The temperatures today will run a little bit lower than yesterday because of an onshore breeze, and that'll continue into the day Friday. Actually, the weather looks pretty quiet for the next few days, even including the Memorial Day weekend. There'll be some changes, and I'll talk about those, but if you have things planned outdoors, the weather looks pretty quiet. So today is the perfect day to take requests. Kind of feel like a DJ taking requests here. Yesterday in the comments section, there were some people asked some questions, and I thought, well, today's a perfect day to answer those questions or whatever it is that you want to talk about. So, like I said, we're taking requests. If you have requests, now that the weather is going to be relatively quiet, put it in the comments section and I'll try to get around to it the next day. So our first request comes from, I'm going to get this wrong, Bob Brett, 5244, asking, what's the weather going to be like for the Indy 500? Good question. I kind of forgot that was going on this weekend, but let's go ahead and take a look. So this is the NAM, and here is Indiana, and this is into the day on Saturday. This is Saturday night. There is rain to the south, but it does look as though as we go through the day on Sunday, rain stays to the south down into Kentucky, leaving Indiana clear with a bit of a north wind here. So all in all, it looks like it's going to be okay for the Indy 500. We should be seeing nothing in the way of rain to hold things up. And the Great American Race should be quite nice on Sunday. So that's an easy one. Thank you, Bob, for that request. All right, next up, let's see. We've got thrust set simulations. Ask about the reservoirs, what the status of our reservoirs is. Good question, because this is the time of year when our reservoirs are at their peak, or should be at their peak. You get a good gauge of just how good is it going to be. May is when they're going to top out. So let's see how we're doing. So what we've got here doesn't show up all that well. Let me get this framed a little bit better. Here we go. So this is from Department of Water Resources, and as you can see, they go from north to south, and let's take a look at some of the major reservoirs. Shasta, as of today, stands at 94% of capacity, and it's actually starting to come down. It has actually already reached its peak. Oroville is at 99% total capacity. Bullard's Bar at 99%. Folsom's at 94%. Berryessa is at 96%. So as you can see, even, Comanche is at, Comanche didn't report. Pardee is at 95%. New Melones, 81%. And Melones usually lags behind a little bit, but it still has almost 2 million acre feet of water in it, so it's doing great. Don Pedro's at 92, and McClure's at 91. So as you can see, we are in great shape statewide. So we have had another good water year. It doesn't have to be a blockbuster in order to get our reservoirs in good shape, and this should actually put us in good shape next year. Let me show you how the year usually goes. So what I'm going to do here is show you the last 12 months on Shasta. Let's see if I can frame this up. Oh, there we go. That looks better. So this is the last 12 months on Shasta. So this is a year ago here, up at 1060. And of course, during the summer, this is July, it gradually comes down so that by November, you're starting to see it bottom out just before the rain season really kicks in. And then the rain season comes. In January, it went up. This little spike is because we had some really good rain. Some water came in, and then they gradually let some out. And then the spring runoff started, and it peaked. And it peaked, let's see, here on, looks like the April 28th, this one peaked. And actually it's starting to come down a little bit, kind of as a result that we didn't really get much rain in the month of April, and certainly not in the month of May. Sometimes this stays higher a little bit later, but we have already started the downtrend as we did here. But this is the typical trend, and you see the highest level on the reservoirs here in April and May. So that's the last year. Let me show you the last 2 years, now that I'm thinking about it. So I'll put in 720 days. So yes, as you can see, so this is July of 23, or this is actually June of 23. So a peak here, it comes down, it peaks, it comes down, it peaks. So this is good. Every year, the last couple of years, it has been full, but it naturally draws down. And if you looked at Oroville, it would have a similar profile, and same thing again in the month in Folsom and New Melones. They all do the same thing. So reservoirs are in good shape. So I hope that answers your question. All right, one more request here. I can't even read my own handwriting about who this came from. The question was about what do the green and red areas and yellow areas mean on the 500 millibar chart? And this is a perfect segue to get us into our weather that's going to be happening over the next couple of days. So let's go to a 500 millibar chart. And here we are. So this is our this is the 6Z run of the 500 millibar chart. So the question was, what do these areas of green and especially these areas of red and yellow mean? So you have a couple of things going on here. The black lines here are lines of equal height. So this is a 500 millibar chart, which means that this entire map is at 500 millibars. Just like if you looked at a surface map, everything would be at sea level. So this is, again, instead of measuring something in height, this measures it in terms of pressure. So everything on this map is at 500 millibars, no matter where you traveled on here. And the black lines indicate what your altitude would have to be in order to reach 500 millibars. So this line right here says 582. So that means you would have to be at 5,820, they omit the zero, 5,820 meters to get up to 500 millibars. So that's what the black lines are. And then these, of course, are the wind barbs. We've talked about that before. So the wind is going this way. And so the long lines mean 10 knots. The short lines mean 5 knots. So that's 15. We should have some 50s in here. Yeah, there's a couple of 50s down here, these little flags in here. That means 50. And I think that one right there looks like it's about 65. And so you get around these areas that are a little bit stronger with winds. But the question was, so what do these areas of yellow mean? Well, that is vorticity. It's a measure of how much twisting there is in the atmosphere. And what you're looking for are cyclonic circulation. So in here, you don't have anything because you actually have anticyclonic motion. But in here, the scale is way over here on the right. And this has to do with the level of rotation in the atmosphere. So down here on the lower end, you have these levels of very little, and then you go up to these areas of red where you have quite a bit. And what you're really looking for is not only vorticity, but vorticity advection. In other words, you want areas of vorticity coming into your area if you are going to be seeing anything in the way of rain. So you have positive vorticity advection, negative vorticity advection, and that sort of thing. So I hope that helps to answer your question. And so now that we're on the 500 millibar chart, let's take a look at how things are going to go. This little passing wave that we're looking at today is going to help to increase that delta breeze and will help to keep temperatures a little bit lower. After that goes by, we get back into a ridge over the course of the weekend, and temperatures will come back up, but we're only talking upper 80s to around 90 or so for the valley. And then we get into Monday, another little passing wave. Notice the areas of green along here. It has to show that we are getting some rotation in here. And again, the ridge, you don't have it, but in the trough you do. That goes by and lowers temperatures once again, and then the temperatures come back up as we get into the middle part of next week. The question is going to be at the end of next week. We should be up to like Friday. Yep, this is next Friday. And the question is really going to be what's going to happen with this cutoff low down here, and how is that going to interact with this big ridge? Because right now, the placement of that low could really mess with just how hot it may get. We still think it could get hot toward the end of next week. Friday, Saturday could be hot, but it really will depend on that low. So let's go back a little bit and just show you what's happening this morning. We should see the marine layers start to rebuild a little bit here over the next 24 hours. There really isn't much of it going on right now. And otherwise, we have clear skies, little weather system out in here, but most of the activity is going by to our north, and we will gradually see more in the way of cloud cover come our way, but just those high, thin clouds. That's about it. What we will also notice today is an increase in some wind. This is Cansack, so here's the onshore breeze, also windy in the Sierra and the east side today. So for those of you around Carson City, Reno, and Dayton Valley, we will be seeing some gusty winds this afternoon. And for the valley, we will start to see more of the onshore breeze, making temperatures run lower. And this is around 5 o'clock, really starting to get gusty in the valley, that classic onshore flow going up the valley and then coming through the Carquinez Strait and then from a north-northwest wind through San Joaquin and Stanislaus County. So that's this afternoon at 5 o'clock. During the day on Friday, that wind isn't quite as strong. This is Friday evening, an onshore breeze, so more comfortable if you're going to be outside on Friday, and also a lot less wind in the Sierra. And into the day on Saturday, that wind will be pretty flat. This is Saturday afternoon, a light onshore breeze, probably enough to make, make sure the temperatures don't get too hot. And all in all, we're going to be looking pretty good. Excuse me, a little something in my throat. Let me take a sip of water here. Much better. So all in all, the next few days look as though they're going to be pretty comfortable. Let's see, that's not the one I wanted to show you. This is the one I want to show you. So let's take a look at what's going to happen here in Northern California. This is the GFS, the 6Z GFS. Here is that onshore gradient that we'll have, helping to make temperatures pretty comfortable. Nothing in the way of rain. This is the weekend. This is more of an onshore gradient on Saturday afternoon than had been forecast earlier when we were looking at much warmer weather. Sunday may turn out to be a little bit warmer than Monday, a passing system. Next week, everything kind of goes by, nothing really coming our way. Now let's get into next Friday. This is next Friday afternoon. So the surface map looks as though this is at 5 p.m. There's only a slight onshore gradient, but not enough to impact the valley. And if I come over here and I go to surface temperature, this is showing temperatures over 100. I don't take these at face value, but relatively speaking, it shows you that it could be hot. And so that's what we'll be looking at next week, is the potential for, and again, right now it's still potential for some heat at the end of next week, but it's that cutoff low that could mess with things. So if you are looking at an app and it shows 100 something next Friday, Saturday, whatever, we'll see. I mean, the potential's there. The models are kind of pointing in that direction, but the models may not have it right just yet. So again, your app, you know how I feel about apps. That's everything I've got for you this morning. It should be nice the next couple of days. Warm, but not overly hot. Pretty comfortable for being outside. Nice delta breeze. It will, however, turn breezy this afternoon in the valley and somewhat windy in the Sierra. But other than that, weather's pretty nice. It's a good time of year. That's everything I have for you on this Thursday morning. Make it a great day. I'll talk with you later.